Hello and welcome to this video report. The purpose of this report is to give you an example of the cost structure that you can experience in a traditional franchise. Whenever you do, don't buy a traditional franchise without carefully considering the full cost structure of the franchise that you're intending to buy. So how much money do you require? A traditional franchise can set you back any amount of money, from say £10,000, $20,000 to literally millions. I recently saw a franchise advertised in the UK press. It spoke about an earning potential of £60,000 per year with an investment required of £50,000. Now that's a huge investment to make such little money. Let's look at a cheaper example here. Your investment is going to be made up of a number of things. Let's say the basic franchise cost is just £25,000. On top of that, you're probably going to need some fixtures, equipment, stock, and let's just put a figure of £5,000 on that for this example. You're going to need working capital to enable you to trade until you're actually generating income. And let's just include £5,000. So that means your total investment required would be £35,000. However, the picture could look very different. Maybe you need working capital of say £15,000 to give you more breathing space, in which case your investment would be £45,000. In either case, your investment is going to be made up of a number of items: your purchase cost of the franchise, maybe some setup costs and equipment, and working capital. Now let's do an income projection. Let's say we're going to try and get franchise sales of £250,000. Now the cost of those sales, I'm going to assume to be, on this case, £150,000, giving us a gross profit of £100,000 or 40%. Now it could look very different if, say, your percentage gross profit return was only 20%, because then you'd only earn £50,000 gross profit. The question for you is, what gross profit does your franchise offer? What's the likely gross profit that it returns? In the franchise that I used to work in, we had approximately 10% as gross profit on our prime product. Let's just go back to our gross profit one of £100,000 and start putting some costs against it. There's going to be some variable costs. Invariably there's going to be franchise fees, and in this example I'm saying they're going to be 5% of our sales, so £12,500. Now you're obviously going to have to market. Now some people call the marketing cost fixed cost, but for here I'm calling them variable. So how much marketing should we spend? Well, to get this level of sales to 250,000, let's just put in a figure of say 10,000 for our marketing. So that means our variable costs are going to be £22,500. Now we're then going to have lots of fixed costs, and these are just examples: rent, utility, telephone, printing and stationery, accounting, and maybe a staff member. And this lot comes to £35,000. So in this profit projection, we start off with sales of £250,000, and we end up with a net profit after all of our expenses of £42,500 net profit before tax. But I forgot your salary, so you've got to take that out. So you've got to make sure you include everything. I also assumed that there were no finance costs. But what about if you didn't have the money for that investment of £35,000 initially, or £45,000, whatever your investment is? You're going to have to finance it, so there's going to be financing costs. Or maybe you purchase the franchise from an existing franchisee, and therefore you're going to pay goodwill. So there's lots of aspects you need to carefully consider. The fact is, there's going to be lots of costs to be covered before you even start making a profit, so make sure you have them all covered. Now I'm not suggesting traditional franchises don't work, they clearly do. However, it's important to understand that buying a franchise is not just a stroll in the park. You've got to work hard and make sure you cover all your costs, your fixed costs, before you even start making money. And what I am suggesting, however, is that knowing that the franchise model itself works, then there is a much more viable and powerful alternative to a traditional franchise, which is highly effective. Let's just quickly go back to that advert I mentioned, where there was an earning potential of £60,000 per year with an investment required of £50,000. What about if instead of a £50,000 investment, or even just a £10,000 investment, you can invest in a powerful franchise for less than £2,000 or less than $4,000? Yet, at the same time, the earning potential far exceeded £100,000 per year. So your investment could be as little as £2,000, yet your earning potential could be £100,000. Now that would be worth looking at in serious deals, though, wouldn't it? Have a look at our blog, our franchise reviews blog, and you will be able to get information and lots of other issues to help you decide on what is right for you.